Good evening and welcome to another episode of In the Trees with your host, Matt
and Derek.
And tonight's episode, we're going to take a dive into a current and pretty
relevant topic, yes.
Yeah. What do we got, Derek? What are we talking about?
So today we are talking about the submersible, the OceanGate's Titan. Obviously, if you haven't seen it, there's been a bunch of memes on the internet, and so we're going to kind of jump into a couple articles today. I think one's by NBC, and the other one I think we're going to jump into first is by CBS News. So let's kind of jump into that real quick, and then kind of break it down, guys.
Okay. The backdrop to this, folks, was CBS News posted, on Tuesday, a search and rescue mission was underway Monday for a submarine that went missing in the North Atlantic on an expedition to explore the wreckage of the Titanic. Lieutenant Jordan Hart of the U.S. Coast Guard in Boston first confirmed to CBS News that the personnel were currently undergoing a search and rescue operation when asked about the rescue efforts off the coast of Newfoundland. As a news conference Monday afternoon, Rear Admiral Major John Mager confirmed that the 5 people were aboard. A Coast Guard official identified them as an operator and 4 mission specialists, a term the company uses for its passengers. The vessel submerged on a dive Sunday morning, and the crew of the Polar Prince, the ship that ferried the submersible and the expedition members to the dive site, lost contact with them approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes into the vessel's dive, the Coast Guard said in a tweet. OceanGate Expeditions, never heard of them, a company that deploys manned submersibles for deep-sea expeditions, confirmed in a statement that its sub was the subject of the rescue operation, adding it was exploring and mobilizing all options to bring the crew back safely. The company did not say whether or not any of the people on board are paying tourists. It takes them as passengers on its expeditions. Our entire focus on the crew members in the submersible and their family. That is what OceanGate added, that it was deeply thankful for the extensive assistance that we have received from several government agencies and deep-sea companies in our efforts to reestablish contact with the submersible. The U.S. Coast Guard said that it had a C-130 crew searching for the sub approximately 900 miles off of Cape Cod. That's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it is.
And that the Rescue Coordination Center Halifax is assisting with the P-8 Poseidon aircraft, which has underwater detection capabilities. Aircraft are searching from above while vessels are also searching the water, Marger said in the briefing. Sonar buoys have been deployed in the area with an attempt to listen for the missing sub. They're capable of listening to a depth of 13,000 feet. Holy smokes. In a remote area, and it is in a remote area, and it is a challenge to conduct a search in that remote area. But we are deploying all available assets to make sure that we can locate the craft and rescue the people on board, Mager said. The Coast Guard is also working with military and civilian partners to develop a rescue plan if the vessel is located underwater, Mager said. Right now, we are focusing on locating the vessel, but at the same time, if we find this vessel in the water, we will have to effect some sort of rescue. We are coordinating, reaching out to different partners within the U.S. Navy, within the Canadian Armed Forces, and within the private industry to understand what underwater rescue capability might be available. The sub is believed to have 96-hour sustainment capability if there's an emergency on board. We're making the best use of every moment of that time to locate the vessel, Mager said. Asked about the emergency supply oxygen, Mager said, we anticipate that there are somewhere between 70 to a full 96 available hours available at this point. The Coast Guard first alerted mariners Sunday night that a 21-foot vessel, or 21-foot submarine, with a white hull was overdue, giving its last known position. All caps, vessels in the vicinity requested to keep a sharp lookout, assist if possible, the message said.
Whew. Yeah, so that map right there, it's kind of showing where in the middle of nowhere this is at. So, good Lord.
Dude, can you imagine being in a minivan that went underwater? And I'm not sure, and of course this was the original post that they had made, original news story.
Yeah, so sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. No, we have the update coming up here in just a second, but Derek, would you want to get in a pod to travel, literally, look at that, looking at that map, that's like 2,000 miles in a pod.
Yeah. Good. No, absolutely not. Yeah,
Even on a trawler.
yeah, I've been seeing some updates about that kind of recently. Basically, they're saying by the morning of the 22nd, which is Thursday, they'll basically be out of water, or not water, but they're surrounded by water. They got plenty of that. Well, they'll be out of oxygen here in a little while. But some other things I've been seeing about it, like the door is sealed with like 18 or 20 bolts on the outside. So it's basically once you're in there, you have to have a whole crew just to get you out.
Non-operational at that point.
You know, so many possibilities. Not really so many. There's a handful of possibilities that could have happened with these things. One of the guys that worked with the company was being interviewed and mentioned like 7 backup safety things. So like if one thing happens, like it basically is supposed to have like a balloon basically that's supposed to bring it back to the above the water.
Yeah, flotation device
essentially. And there's 7 like after the first initial backup, there was an additional like 6 more backups.
Right.
So there's it's possible that it got snagged, but then there was always that possibility, which is hopefully the quickest death route would be them basically having a leak and then it just implodes.
Yeah, that would be a quick
death. With the pressure, it'd be instant almost. But then they could also, without a power, they'd almost freeze to death out down there just because of how cold it is. Whew.
There's a lot of factors not playing in their favor right now.
Definitely not.
Let's read them the update.
This is the update when it comes to the missing people who are all involved in this like submarine. Because I think if you've seen any of the stuff online, it's mostly memes making fun of like the event, and I think the reason why most people are making fun of it is
terrible.
It's because of all the people who are kind of involved. I guess it's a lot of rich people, so people kind of feel like it's a little bit easier to punch up. I guess.
7th layer of hell for you, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna laugh.
The Titanic tourist submersible missing with 5 people aboard is a simple and small vessel with carpeted floor instead of seats and barely enough room for more than one person at a time to stretch out, according to previous passengers and promotional documents. The Titan vessel, part of the OceanGate Expeditions tour, vanished Sunday during a mission to explore the wreckage of the Titanic. Rescuers have less than 40 hours left to find the submersible before its oxygen supply runs out, the U.S. Coast Guard said around midday Tuesday amid an ongoing search. So like you said, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock tomorrow. The company specs for the vessel says it's equipped with 96 hours of oxygen. The passengers that have been identified are OceanGate Expedition CEO, of course, Stockton Rush, British billionaire Hamish Harding, go figure, French diver Paul-Henri Nargeolet, probably butchering that, prominent Pakistani businessman, not even going there, Mr. Dawood and his son are all on there on this submersible currently. And it also says, in addition to that, the Titan's dimensions are really only 22 feet by 9.2 feet by 8.3 feet. That's barely bigger than a jail cell.
I think it's tiny as
Not that I would know that, but according to a diagram of the vessel, I'm talking claustrophobia.
You could barely lay down in there.
Right? According to the diagram of the vessel used in the promotional documents, only one of the passengers is able to fully extend their legs in the diagram, which describes the arrangement, the typical seating configuration. There's no traditional toilet above the vessel. Oh my God. Which steered with a video game controller. Previous passengers have detailed.
That's a lot of the memes I've been seeing are the basic.
Can you imagine what that
like
looks like down there?
Controller, bro.
Oh, that's horrible.
It's like a knockoff PlayStation controller.
That's awful. I mean, I heard also that's industry standard.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Like they use like that in military drones.
But it is in all reality.
Those are the controllers you just throw at the wall and didn't feel bad. Like, I guess I broke my $20 controller.
So, they have lots of complaint about this, Derek, but essentially, as the news update said, they're hearing a couple of squawks over, the radio and stuff. They don't know. They're hearing knocks every 30 minutes, but here's the thing. There's so many things playing against you that it's just not it's not looking very good. It's definitely looking like a grim situation. But anyways, so once he this is how they were talking about when you actually reach the inside of it. One of the guys said once he reached the tiny entry hatch at the top, he said he had to plunge blindly about 6 feet into total darkness. Inside the sub, the environment was cool, dimly lit, and quiet. The sub's interior was about the same as a minivan. Reese said, adding that there was carpeted floor instead of seats. He and the other passengers sprawled out on the carpet, and the vessel made its descent into the bottom of the ocean. Do you see the picture of that right there?
Yeah, so I hear it's like a corkscrew too. They go down like in a spiral, kind of almost.
How are you going to get out of that? Why?
You have to have a whole team to get you out. That's what I'm saying. They bolt you in with like 18 boats, bro, and they had to get you out with like a whole team.
Wow.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy.
So
you would never catch me going down there.
Apparently they had problems from the time it locked down. It said they had a loud squawk coming over the radio saying everything was broken, including the sonar, the computer, and the lights. Reese even said that they all went back up to the surface immediately and spent the next 3 days on a tugboat while the Titan was repaired. Reese and the other passengers were well aware of the hazards of the rare voyage. In recent interviews with the Seattle-based television station KIRO, Reese said he had to sign a long, long waiver that mentions possible death 3 times on the first page. Whew. Other Titan passengers have described running into challenges on their journey. David Pogue, a CBS News correspondent, said that the submersible got lost on the seafloor for a few hours during his trip to visit the Titanic's resting place last year. And they went back.
Well, someone else went. My
yeah,
Lord.
But that's pretty much an update on that, folks. And that's where it stands on that. I have a couple of thoughts on this personally. First of all, we have yet to explore and map properly over 90% of the ocean.
Oh yeah, I mean, what's all down there?
We know more about the moon than we do
space.
our own ocean. Yeah, and space around us especially. So you got to wonder, what is down there? And if you don't know what's down there, why would you go in something that's the size of a minivan? I'm thinking more like a Titanic-sized craft. And even then...
Man, I don't even know. It's wild. But I saw some stories where they were saying that there's 2 employees that were basically fired. Basically, they were filed whistleblower complaints on them. Basically saying how it wasn't safe and
doesn't sound safe. They don't have a freaking bathroom.
I saw one employee was basically sued for basically breach of contract with basically when he started whistleblowing and stuff like that. So they basically settled out of court, but basically people are starting to look into that now because like a lot of things. Like I said, there's 2 employees that basically quit this place because like hey, we don't want to be a part of this because it's dangerous and.
Yeah, but okay, again, they charge $250,000 a seat.
Yeah, like
you said,
$250,000, something like that.
$250,000 a person. Can you imagine paying $250,000 to die at the bottom of the ocean alone?
The father's son that spent $500,000.
Yeah, didn't you say that guy was one of the richest Pakistani nationals? That
I believe so. He's like some really rich businessman in Pakistan.
Again, folks, we're learning as we go. But I've got I just got these reservations. You're going to put me in a tube that could be crushed by, heck, a blue whale could accidentally crush that.
Oh yeah, orca. That's one of the memes I've seen, like an orca hitting it with a steel chair.
Yeah, I mean that's not an unmessable with vehicle. Now you get me like a 500-foot submarine or something, I feel a little bit more at home. But even then, there's been horror stories that I've heard. Why would you go down there in a carton waiting for? Oh my God!
I don't know. I guess when you have like you just have so much money just to blow, you kind of have to, I saw an interview where one of the guys that had went on it the prior year mentioned, he's like, the first, with, them losing communication or getting out of contact with, like, the boat above them is a common thing that happens down there. And, like, even the other guys mentioned that they were on the floor of the seabed, or the floor sea, the floor of the seabed. There we go. He got it. That they were on there for a few hours. I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. No.
OceanGate, y'all need to start building bigger ships if you listening to this, because I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all some cheapskates. You charging people millions of dollars, and y'all are sending them down there in a cardboard box.
I'm still getting over the whole Logitech thing. It's like, really?
Here's the thing:
$30 controller.
To each his own.
Yeah.
But I'm not spending a house to go see the Titanic in what looks like a oversized butt plug.
So, we're going to kind of conclude our thoughts here. Do you have any other thing you wanted to mention in this part?
Man, my best wishes and condolences and prayers go out to the families and those affected. In all reality, it's a very serious situation. And it doesn't look great, but you can only hope for the best and pray. And if, definitely don't be like that one family member that
the
went
stepson of
this-
the British billionaire who's basically posted pictures of him, like selfies of him at the Blink-182 concert. Like, my family would want me to be here right now.
That's how you get written out of a will, real quick,
That's
folks.
definitely how you got written out of the will. Like, the stepson's definitely not getting any money.
Yeah, there's a big old check got checked off there just now. But no, that's all I have, bub.
All right, guys. This is In the Truth with
Matt.
and Derek. And guys, thank you for turning in for, I guess this would be our third episode of the kind of news updates and whatnot. I think we'll probably post another one this weekend or sometime before, the end of the week. Just kind of see what the rest of the news for the week is.
Don't forget to follow us on Twitter and our Reddit at In the Trees.
I'll post all the links down below, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.